Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today we are going to be delving into one of Osprey Publishing's many works on the Roman legions, specifically this one from their Warrior series covering the Legionary during the Principate. To any new followers who may not be aware of what I do in these reviews, they are basically more loosely structured videos where I go through a certain book and give my thoughts on it as we go on. The one we have today is pretty good, so hopefully some of you will be encouraged to give it a try after watching this. Before we get started, however, I would like to take a moment to talk about some upcoming changes to the channel, specifically changes in regard to production quality. I'll have a preview video up pretty soon showing off some new maps and animations coming to the channel. I think you'll find the upgrade to be pretty significant, so stay tuned for more news on that. This particular book on the Roman legions covers their recruitment, equipment, and history from the year of the four emperors to the beginning of the reign of Marcus Aurelius, and was written by Ross Cohen. The book is illustrated by Jean O. Brogane, who brings some beautiful artwork to the book to visualize different events in the period the book covers, which is further backed by numerous other images related to the legions like stone reliefs and archaeological finds. I'm not quite sure why he decided to restrict their history to this period alone, however. There weren't any major reforms between 69 and 161 AD that changed the legions in any way that would necessitate such a division. This strange time restraint aside, however, the book is pretty good, and due to its short length of 64 pages is very easy to pick up and go through. The book begins with a brief introduction to the period, as well as a couple pages of chronology summarizing notable events that occurred then. Cohen then discusses the origins of different legions, such as how the first legion Adiutrix was raised from drafts from the Roman navy, as well as the different ways legions were lost. The most interesting part of this to me was his analysis of the disappearance of the 9th Legion Hispana, made popular through the many novels and movies dedicated to it. Next, the book discusses the recruitment of the legions. We first begin by going over how recruits of Italian origin dwindled in prominence significantly during this period, being replaced by men raised in the empire's provinces. Cohen also discusses what the typical age of recruits was, as well as a soldier's terms of service and the pay he could expect to receive while in the legions. This is then complemented by a section on training, including the officers that supervised the process. The next section goes over the organization of the legion. In part, this is what you would expect from a book like this, as Cohen goes over how the legion was organized into 10 tactical subunits called cohorts, divided into centuries led by centurions. However, much of the section is dedicated to breaking down the organization of the legion in great detail, such as discussing how the most experienced troops may have been placed at the front ranks, where did the centurions stand in the battle line, who held overall command of a cohort, and much more. We then get to the gear of the legionaries. There isn't much to say of this part, however. It's a very standard breakdown of what types of clothing, armor, and weapons a legionary carried, including an analysis of what kind of changes the Romans might have gone through. The final section of the book goes over what a Roman legion did while on campaign. There's a heavy focus on the famous Trajan's Column, the great victory monument built to celebrate the conquest of Dacia in the 2nd century AD, but also ancient sources like Tacitus who describe the legions in action during this period. Again, this is pretty much what one would expect from a book like this, as Cohen discusses how the legions functioned while on campaign and also their actions in the aftermath of a battle. Overall, Roman Legionary AD 69-161 is a solid read on the history of the legions during an important period in Roman history. My biggest criticism about it remains the time period they chose to restrict the book to, and I think it could have been broadened a bit more. But that's only a minor issue at the end of the day. I greatly recommend this to anyone interested in Roman military history. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content on ancient Rome, and check out my other social media in the links below. See you in the next one.